You know
God
the
damn,
oh my
bro.
god, why am I having such a hard time remembering the guy's name? He's like a UFC great.
Oh,
Uh,
Anderson Silva.
yes, he
Yeah,
did the same thing to Silva, but it was just
yeah.
the other leg. But like, bruh,
Oh God, man, that was so gross, man. Stuff like that freaks me out, bro. Because I played basketball like 2 days later, and I was like, I don't even want to jump right now and just like Kevin wear this shit. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's just like I hate that when I see that. It's like, oh, because it's so freak. I don't think it's like you can prepare for it or he did something
no,
wrong. It just
it didn't.
happens.
It just it got checked, and I guess it just got checked in the right spot. And
Oh, goddamn, I hate that stuff, bro. Even like
yeah,
ACL tears and Achilles stuff, that just freaks me out. When I'm playing ball, I'm just like, oh man, bro, like, like
that's where I'll be
please,
like
like,
when I
that's,
play basketball, I'll be chilling, bro. I'm
yeah.
nothing but post work. I ain't got time to be trying to meet me in the
Oh,
post, and then we'll figure out something because I'm not
yeah,
nah.
that's a long. Man, it has been
So much
fucking
shit. And
crazy week, man.
your boy Aaron Rodgers stole the motherfucking show.
He did, bro. I didn't even think about it, but they were saying on all of the sports talk shows today, like it's hilarious how they drafted Jordan Love, and then he waited a whole year just to drop this bomb on him, like the day
Like,
of draft
y'all
day.
know I really don't fuck with y'all. Like y'all
Yeah.
did this. I know I went to the season, but I still don't fuck with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Like he dropped, and I love the fact about it. Like the draft day is supposed to be about all these rookies, coming into the league, they getting drafted, and Aaron Rodgers is like, that's cute, but like it's really about me.
Really is. And like we were talking about Russ, right, and Deshaun and all these possible moves. Like Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
bro, like he's like one of the greatest ever. Like this man.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so I'm sure you've thought about this. What are the Saints gonna give up to get Aaron Rodgers? I know you thought about this.
Well, I mean, if Seattle was shutting down those halls from those teams, I'd have to think like a Rodgers haul would have to be absolutely. I think if you're trading for Aaron Rodgers, it's probably going to be like the biggest haul in the history of like NFL trades, right? I mean, granted he's older,
Yeah.
but if I'm Green Bay, I'm not giving up anything less, right? Like multiple
I mean,
picks,
it's
something. I don't think they are content with Jordan Love, so I'm sure they'd want some type of formidable quarterback in return as well. So
that'd be an opportunity to get your boy Jameis out of there, huh?
that'd be crazy, man. I mean, that would. I was talking about how excited I'd be for Russ, and I think, in the sense that Russ is younger, I'd still probably rather take that if I was a smarter GM. But like, God, if Rodgers went to the Saints, man, that'd be fucking crazy. But I don't
It
know. Like,
would.
I just because it
Like,
was dropped yesterday, I have no. I was thinking about it, but I really can't sit there and think like, who realistically could I be like, take an educated guess and be like, I think that he would end up here. It's still my mind spinning.
it's a ton of options. You hear rumors about Denver,
Mm-hmm.
right, and how they could use a quarterback. I mean, think about San Francisco, but I heard that they called and they inquired, and that
Really?
shit got shot down.
I mean, the
Yeah,
GM said the
Green
GM
Bay was
said
like,
we're not
"Nah,
trading him. Yeah, so
we're
it'll
not trading them." So,
so.
but I mean, that's an option, right? Like
Mhm.
San Francisco could be nice. I even thought about this randomly, but like, what about the Raiders?
Yeah, that's what's interesting too, because they were in the Russ talks as well, right? But what was weird is it Mike Mayock? I might be wrong. That might not be his name, but he was adamant, like pounding the desk, like Derek Carr's our guy, like they're not giving him up, which is really bizarre to me. I don't know why they're so sold on
Right,
him.
Derek Carr is kind of. I mean, he's average.
Yeah.
You get an elite
Mhm.
quarterback, you do that. So I have a question for you regarding this whole Aaron Rodgers thing because this morning watching sports shows and they're talking about, and Dan Graziano was sitting there talking about like, I don't know what everybody's over here getting upset about. Like Green Bay, he's like, you over here. He was like, when you look at Green Bay last year, it wasn't a deficiency on offense. They were one of the top offenses
Mhm.
in the league last year.
Mhm.
He was like, outside of drafting Jordan Love, what have they not done for Aaron Rodgers? They got rid of the coach. They brought in a new coach that was more quarterback centric.
Yeah.
They have a defense. He has one of the best offensive lines in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like what have they done? So I thought about it, and I think where he's at, where my mindset would be if I was him is like they haven't completely given him the weaponry that like other teams with elite quarterbacks have done. Or the other teams with elite quarterbacks have done. You look at the weaponry that Patrick Mahomes, what they did for Patrick Mahomes. Like it didn't matter who they were trying to get everybody they could.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady, same situation. They went and got everybody that they could. And the fact that Green Bay traded up to get to that pick, and then you don't try to go and add another piece to the weaponry, I think that's what's kind of making him upset because he's looking at these other two elite quarterbacks that are the team is doing everything they can to make him happy and give him every single type of skilled player that they can to help, and they don't do that. Instead, they draft a replacement. Like, how would you feel in that situation?
That's exactly what it is because what your opening monologue there, when you think about it, it's like you're right. It's a very well-rounded team, right? Great on D. That hasn't always been the case in his career, but the last 2 years for sure, their D has been very good. Top 5 running back, probably arguable, but like he's very good. Top 3 receiver,
easy.
But it's I think it literally comes down to what you just said, just the blatant. And I heard Shannon Sharp bring up, the 2 years ago thing too, when Love came in and they leaked that they talked to Rodgers and like, you're not going to be the problem, right? Or whatever they said to him, like, don't you be the problem. And that was the first sign of like, are they trying to push Rodgers out? Because that's a very disrespectful thing to say to your franchise quarterback, let alone he's one of the greatest ever. And then, I think it literally just comes down to draft night last year, man. Like you just said, trading up. It'd be one thing if this was an elite quarterback that we're all looking at, like, where's he going to go, but like, I don't think I haven't seen any tape on Jordan Love. I don't want to be disrespectful, but like, I don't know anything about the dude. I really don't see him coming anywhere close to Aaron Rodgers. It baffles me, man. Like we were saying, he could have, even though you have an elite running back and an elite receiver already, another receiver or a tight end or something, or trade the pick for, like you said, another weapon. It baffles me. I didn't like that. I didn't like that pick at all. And I thought
they didn't even call him and tell him about it.
No, exactly. So it's almost like, do you want him gone? Like, what is this like your passive aggressive way of like letting him know?
Yeah. Like, and then you just made this comment. They gonna call him talking about like you're not gonna be a problem, right?
Yeah, it's pretty like confrontational.
It's like, so first you draft somebody that you're planning on trying to replace me with, and then you're gonna tell me like, don't be a problem.
Exactly. So basically, I'm the problem, is what you're saying. And
like, that's what you give somebody like the fuck.
Exactly, bro. It's very weird. I support him completely. I think, even though, like we were saying, they've been great the last 2 seasons, it just seems like the writing's been on the wall that they've kind of been ready to move on. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting. Do you think he sits out though if they won't trade him?
I don't know if he's that type of person, but maybe the relationship is so tarnished that he's like, fucking, I can go host Jeopardy for like a year.
He can, bro.
You know what I mean? Like it still get, it still get paid from that.
Yup. I mean,
until y'all decide to move me.
Exactly. If you're actually fed up, I have no issue with that. Just sitting out. Obviously, you're not going to get paid, but he's got his endorsements and he's made quite a bit of money over his career. It would, granted, his years are numbered. That's the only thing that like time is not on his side. But he did just come off an MVP season. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. We see Tom still playing at like a top, whatever you want to argue. He's like a top 6 or 5 quarterback, wherever you want to put him, right? So it's like, as long as he's taking care of himself, there's no saying he can't play. What is he? 36, 37? Somewhere in there?
Rodgers? I think he... Let me find that. I think you're right, though.
37. Okay.
37. Huh?
So...
Yeah. So, I mean, he...
Stay right. You got at least 3 years, right? I mean...
That's what I was thinking. Same thing, yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It'll be very interesting. You brought up... who'd you say? San Francisco. But I wanted to talk to you about that. Obviously, we're going to shift gears and get into the draft here.
Yeah.
Man, this might be bold, and I know everyone's on Trevor Lawrence, and I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I think Trey Lance might be the best quarterback in this draft, man. Like, and I think I think it's about to be like a Josh Allen thing from why, like, no one's talking about this dude. You know, there's so many quarterbacks that everyone was talking about, and Trevor Lawrence was obviously at the forefront of it. I don't know, man. I really like Trey Lance, bro. Whether he stays there or they trade him, whatever happens, I think that dude's the truth.
I mean, he looks to have the physique and the skill set. I think the biggest thing that they're worried about is just his accuracy, right? And so you just give him some time,
definitely, because you can learn that can be taught, right? Like, it's the intangibles that you really worry about, and his athleticism. But that's the thing. Obviously, I've said before, those scramblers I don't really vibe with, like the Manziels and the Murrays and the Lamars. I think it kind of there's a limit on that. He's athletic, but he's not in that way. He's just huge. Like, he will just start, like, you know, when he gets in the open field, oh, man. Boy. He is, bro. So, like,
and he's not trying to juke you. He's not trying to juke you. He's running through that. So, yeah, it's a big boy. I don't know if I think he'll be the best quarterback out of that whole 5, you know, first rounders to go yesterday. Yep. I think the individual that is in the best possible position is probably going to have the best if it stays that way, and that's Mac Jones.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I think he, out of all those quarterbacks, have the best setup, right? He has he's probably going to have the best pairing with his coach.
Yep.
And then you add in Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
Right. And he'll probably, I'm assuming he'll probably sit this year, unless Cam just starts to get awful, which I don't predict Cam to be awful. You know, a team that with Cam that went 7-9 and was probably a couple of plays out of being out of the playoffs, I think they could potentially get there. I still have my inkling of hope in Cam, and I think he can still get there because he had games where he looked nice.
Definitely.
Right. And then he caught COVID, and then things started shifting a little bit. So I think if he can get a full season with the playbook, getting comfortable, I think Cam can get back to that. But, like, for Mac Jones, that's not a bad person to learn from. You know what I mean? Like, Cam, he's an MVP before, right? So it's not a bad person to learn from. You got Josh McDaniels there, you know, and you got Belichick. So, like, I think he's just in such a great spot to where, like, unless he just turns out to just have like a really bad attitude about things, I don't see how he can fail.
I agree. And they just had a huge wave in free agency, man. They just made a splash. They, you know, 2 stud tight ends.
Yep. They got defensive players coming back. Like,
yep.
You gotta be weary of the Patriots.
Dude, I agree with you completely. And it comes down to also offensively, I like how we've talked about before, that 2 tight end set is very slept on. I don't think a lot of people talk about it, but every time I've seen it, since I've been a fan of football, I've seen success with it, right? And, like, he's so young and will need some of those check down plays to kind of get in a rhythm. I think is it Geno Smith and Hunter Henry, you're going to have 2 guys either right there in the flat, you know, running little out routes right up the middle, you know, like, I think, and, you know, they're good blockers. So it's a really good setup. New England's a great setup. You know, I think Trey Lance is a good setup in San Francisco, being that they're all coming back from their injuries and stuff. But, yeah, New England is such a solid organization.
Yeah, and that's why I think he's in a better setup. But I mean, we'll have to see what it looks like. But I don't disagree. I think Trey Lance can be really good. It just depending upon if he can develop, you know, his accuracy. So definitely, like you said, I think you can improve that.
Granted, what you just said kind of brings me to, I think Zach Wilson's going to have the biggest trouble because he's.
Okay, I thought I was the only person that I didn't. I'm not. Bro, it baffles me how he jumped. He goes from BYU and he comes from BYU. He had a solid season, but it's not like they really passed some tough competition. So now you're the number 2 draft pick over, like, Justin Fields, who has had this pressure on his shoulder. He was so probably like it was like Trevor Lawrence and then like Justin Fields, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Now all of a sudden, like, how does he become the fifth pick? Or I'm sorry, the fourth quarterback off the like? How does he fall like that? Like he only lost 2 games and both were in the playoff games.
I agree.
And the 2 bad games that he had in college, they won the game.
Exactly. You're
He
right,
still
man.
threw for like 300-400 yards. So like I don't get it. I really, really hope Matt Nagy don't screw him over.
Yeah.
I really hope Matt Nagy don't screw him over, bro.
I don't. It'll be interesting, man, because this is the thing. My stepbrother sent me too. He's a Michigan fan, but he was like, "Name an Ohio State quarterback that's actually been good." And I was like, "Yeah, Justin Fields is really gonna have to break that mold because they."
But I think also too, like you've never had a Ohio State quarterback that's come with the same amount of skills that he has.
Yeah.
Right. Or even like that ranking that he's had. A lot of these quarterbacks were just like athletes outside of maybe Haskins.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, think Terrell Pryor, Braxton Miller, players like that.
Receiver.
Exactly. Both of them. Right. And it was just like so quickly too, within like a year. It was like, you're not a quarterback. Like this isn't going to work for you. But I agree. Fields has got a lot of skill. If the Lions didn't have, their quarterback situation, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I wouldn't have been mad if they took him if Goff wasn't in play or if he wasn't there and they had traded Stafford away and were looking for a quarterback. I wouldn't have been upset with Fields. He's like you said, he's experienced a lot of hype and he's been in the spotlight. So I think that's invaluable.
And like he's done it at a high stage against, really good competition and played well. Like that game against Clemson, he balled out.
He did, man. He really did. Like just making throws off his back foot, running around. Like he just showed, that he can, make any type of throw in the book. And he's very athletic. So I hope the best for him, man. Like I liked watching him, even though I'm not like a huge Ohio State fan. Like he was a good quarterback. So it'll be interesting. I think Zach Wilson's going to have the most trouble. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence is up in the air to me, though, bro. Like, I know far and away his talent is through the roof, but, like, it just depends on, like you said, the situation. Like, how good can Jacksonville be from how bad they were last year?
Yeah, and my concern is, and I don't know if my concern is more so Trevor Lawrence as it is Urban Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he a lot, you think about a lot of college coaches haven't had success coaching in the NFL.
No, man. The GOAT.
I think
Nick Saban, bro, went to the Dolphins and was horrible. And it was just like, like it's a different game.
Right. And you think about a college coach that's had success in the NFL, but he started in the NFL was Jim Harbaugh. He started in the NFL and then went to college.
Yep.
Right. So it's a completely so that's going to be the thing. There's like, how is that going to work? And then I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how I felt about them drafting Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Like I would have went and like either got him a weapon as a receiver like Elijah Moore or got somebody on the offensive line.
Yeah, right. Because their O-line needs work. They got some holes.
Right, because because you think they have a pretty good running back. And what is it, James Robinson? I think his name's.
Yeah, he was an undrafted rookie. He played very well. Definitely, he's good out of the slot.
So you have and then you picked up he picked up the old Ohio State running back, Carlos Hyde.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Picked him up. Yeah. So, like, you got a pretty good dual running back. And I know Etienne is really good at, like, pass catching. I think he kind of reminds me of Kamara a little bit. Like,
that's what everyone's saying.
Catch the, You know what I mean? So, I get it. But, like, I think maybe they could have waited a little, maybe not drafted him in the first round. I think they could have definitely went for another receiver or an offensive lineman, but maybe they just didn't, their value wasn't there. So I don't know, but that would have been my.
Yeah, I don't know. With free agency, there's still some players that need to land somewhere. They need to try to pick someone up there. They have DJ Chark, who was good 2 years ago. He didn't have a very good season last year. Granted, their team was horrible, so it's hard to judge. A receiver's a very dependent position, so I can't really, judge a receiver or evaluate them if their whole team or their whole offense is bad, right? It'll be very interesting, man. Like I hope the best for them. Like I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan. I like Etienne too. Like he was a very just explosive player for Clemson. So it'll be cool to see how they translate to the pro game. I gotta tell you, man. I was shocked that Waddle went before Devonta Smith. Like I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow. Holy shit, man.
I'm not.
Really? Okay.
No,
Explain.
I'm not. Because you look at before he went out.
Oh, he's balling.
Who was the preferred receiver between the
Definitely.
two?
You're right. You're right. It's just
right. So I think it's just like a recency bias because Devontae Smith went off when he went out, right?
Yeah.
And you really got to see him. But like before then, like it was Waddle that was like almost kind of seen as that number one receiver there.
Very true.
And and then he went out with the ankle. And then not only that, he's versatile in the fact that like he can do kick and punt returns as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't surprised. I would say the thing that surprised me the most was how high those two, like where those two corners with J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. I didn't, and not necessarily how high they went, but just where they went.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think anybody thought that Carolina's going to go defensive and especially go a defensive back. Like I don't think anybody thought there. I think everybody figured that it was going to be like a receiver or something like that. And even with Denver, I don't think anyone kind of really thought that either.
Definitely.
So I think there was some surprise there. So I think them going a little bit higher, I think was a bit of a surprise. And then I think the other thing that kind of surprised me was like that Elijah Moore, like he didn't get picked up.
No, that was very interesting too, man. There was a couple like that. It'll be very interesting to see tonight. Being that it's the second round. What's about to happen? How many rounds are there? 7, right? Does it go 7 days?
I don't know if it's a full 7 days or not.
I thought it was just a couple days, but yeah, regardless, man.
Yeah.
We got like a dual topic here because Kyle Pitts going to Atlanta and the talk of Julio leaving is so interesting, right? Because it's like him going there. I was saying this to my buddy last night. That doesn't necessarily mean that Julio's not on his way out still. They could just be drafting him because they're losing that receiving threat, right? But if you're talking about the best landing spot for Julio Jones, man, I think honestly he should just stay right where he is, bro. Like that offense is now like a top 10 offense for sure, like solidified. If they can just figure it out on D, man, just get a couple good key personnel, get some leadership, and stop with the boneheaded plays. That's really what it was, just like a lack of discipline that they played with. And like, if they can just turn around the mentality and the culture of that defense, maybe bring in a new coordinator. I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but like, holy crap, man! Like Julio, Kyle Pitts, and what's the other dude's name? Calvin Ridley. Oh my lord! And then Gage, was that the third one? He's really good too. I don't know if he's still there, but
don't they have Hooper? Do they still have Austin Hooper?
No, Hooper went to the Browns last season, right?
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, but
I mean, that is just a dangerous thing because you think if you can use Julio.
Yep.
One, you maybe have Calvin kind of taking the safety and clearing him out. How wide open the middle will be,
right? Oh man, and he's so fast too. It's not even like he's one of those big tight ends. Like people argue that he could be switched to receiver. He's huge, but he's so athletic and so fast. Like, holy crap, man, he's awesome.
It's insane. So what I'm hoping that Atlanta does though is they pick up the linebacker from Notre Dame in the second round. Like that needs to be like if he lands there, that's who they need to pick up.
They need one, man. It's for sure. Like
they need linebackers bad.
Let's see, are they in the same spot? Yeah, they're number 3 in the second round. So defense has to be a priority at this point. What else do you need on offense? I mean, it's maybe a running back. I mean, they're losing
that's what I was
Gurley.
thinking, like a running back to kind of help out with Gurley, but your priority needs to be defense right now.
Definitely. I totally agree with you, man. And then if they can get that figured out, man, you can expect a different team out of them. Like like a huge game jump. I could see them, 5-6 game difference from where they were. I don't even know how many games they won last
Yeah,
year. They
I mean,
weren't
and
that
you think
good, but
about it,
like
a lot
it's
of the games, even last year, like they were competitive in.
yep. Like within a possession and then just like fuck themselves by doing something stupid. Like against the Lions, like early scoring that touchdown and they came down and won. Like they had that game. Like, it's just dumb stuff like that.
Yeah,
Speaking of the
it
Lions, though,
is.
what do you think? Let's hear your Penei Sewell out of Oregon. What do you think?
So, this was probably one of the first years where I was like, if the Lions go a receiver, I'm gonna be cool with it because we need the repertoire. We lost a lot. So when I initially heard the pick, I was like, ugh. And then I was like, you know what? No, it makes sense. It's never a bad thing to kind of like just completely solidify your offensive line,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got Rag now. Who else? You got Glasgow. Is that his name?
Yes, he's still
Glasgow.
there. He might be, yeah. But I mean,
You know what I
bringing Penei
mean?
Sewell in, that really, like you said,
It
solidifies
just
it.
it
Like,
literally, and then I think it will help to kind of activate the running game. So and I think that will really help. And our number one threat from a receiving standpoint, especially in play action with Hawkinson. So
yeah.
it was a good move. Now we really do need to focus on getting. Well, I shouldn't say we because y'all know you're not a Lions fan. So, but
I
the
support them. I'd be happy if
receivers,
they won and did well, but I don't want
yeah,
them. I don't let them break my heart.
right. So the receivers, I think, is definitely how to be a thing. We need edge rushers.
Oh, for sure.
We still need corners. Like
We're the ninth
there's a
in this round
multitude.
tonight. So I
Yeah.
agree. I think the focus needs to either be a receiver or some type of pass or a linebacker, though, because we have
Yeah.
anything on defense. I really wouldn't like. We're so
We could
bad.
use something. Okay. Because I mean we got Okora, who had a decent season.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting some more pass rush. Like you said, the linebacking crew could use some more depth and get better, and then we know the corners can use some help.
Yeah.
So
I like the pick, man. I think he's a generational talent, and
oh
I
yeah.
think you got to relate it to our quarterback. If you think about it, man, Jared Goff thrived the most when he was off the play action, and that was successful, right? You look at his last couple seasons there, his last one with Gurley, and then last season without Gurley, when the run game wasn't as strong. Cam Akers is good, but like their run game was elite the year that they made it to the Super Bowl. That's when he was at his best, when he could work out of the play action, because it kept the defense guessing. And we really saw him struggle the last 2 years. So being that we got a good O-line, if we can get, Swift to really take that step forward. I don't know what's going on with Kerryon Johnson. I don't know. Is he still on the team? Like, is he still like, it's not like an
I
insult.
think
I
this
just
is the
don't know.
last. If I'm not mistaken, I
Last
think it's the
year?
last year of his rookie contract, so they
Okay.
have to make a decision on whether or not they're gonna,
Okay. Well,
take
regardless
an
of what
extension.
happens, we need a good, solid. Yeah, that's what it comes down to always, man. Like I'm a firm believer in that. Solidify your offensive line, establish a run game, work out of the play action, man. That's like such a step by step formula on how to like have a productive offense. You might not have the flashiest in the world. We don't have the greatest skill players in the world, but we will be effective and productive if we have a good O-line and we can run the ball. So it just comes down to that for me. Again, I wasn't really high. Some people were saying quarterback. I think we got to give Goff a chance, bro. He's 26
Yeah,
years old. He's been to a Super Bowl. We've seen him play at an
Pro
elite level.
Bowler.
Yeah, man. Like we've seen him highest paid player in the I mean, like or quarterback at his time when he signed his contract. Like we've seen him play elite. Even when he was playing elite, I don't think any of us thought like he's a top 3 quarterback. I think we all knew that it had to do with the skill of how good the Rams were, but you can't take away from him how good he played, and we got to give him a chance. I think maybe next year or the year after that, if it's not working out, then we reassess that. But to trade for him and then immediately draft a quarterback and have that type of conflict, and that would have given up a player like Sewell or possibly an elite wide receiver, I'm not mad at it. I think it was a good pick.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it. Like you said, I'm good with them giving him support, so that way you can protect him. And then activate that running game with Swift, and then, like I said, the play action. So, Mike, I have a question. Who do you think did the best so far in the draft?
That's a tough one, man. Because it just depends on. every team is at a different stage, right? Like you can look at someone like, the Falcons or the Lions who had horrible seasons last year, but they both made really good picks. It just depends on the context, because like I almost look at the Patriots, like we were saying, based on what they did in free agency and now bringing in Mac Jones. Like I just think they're going to have such a big turnaround. They still won 7 games, I think, last year, but like I could see them easily winning 10 or 11. I think that was exactly what they needed. I have no problem with Cam. I just think that's a very up in the air situation right now to
For
like
sure.
really, say like he's our guy. So
For
it was
sure.
perfect, and I think if he has a season like he did last year or even worse, you bring in Mac and see what he can do.
Yeah.
It'll just be very interesting. So I gotta put them up there. I don't know, man. I think probably the Patriots is probably who I'm gonna have to go with. That was a big
Okay.
pickup, and I wasn't expecting it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think for me, it's the Ravens.
Okay, I mean,
You picked up a bona fide receiver
definitely
in
did.
Rashad Bateman, and then you got a little bit more solidified with your linebacking crew.
Yeah, and they needed it.
You know what
They
I
do from
mean?
Penn
And they
State.
did it
Yep.
right, and they did it late in the draft.
They did. You're right. That's a good point. Like kind of bang for your buck. They really picked up 2 key players. It'll just be very interesting, these teams that picked up these receivers, to see how that works out, man. Because every team that's picked up a receiver so far, you've got Jamar Chase with the Bengals, Waddle with Miami, and then Devonta Smith with the Eagles. I don't know with the Eagles and with the Bengals, because it's such a dependent position, like we were just saying, like how much of an impact that can make right away if their O-line doesn't hold up and the rest of their offense isn't, firing on all
Which
cylinders.
blew my mind that Cincinnati didn't pick up Sewell.
I was thinking the same thing.
Burrow was running for his life, and you don't pick up a generational talent like Sewell.
I was thinking the exact same
thing. Don't get me wrong,
thing, bro.
Jamar Chase is nice.
And they lost AJ Green, who wasn't doing that well, but it's like they needed to,
Right.
fill that up. But I so agree with you, bro. I was shocked.
I'm like, the fact that I'm like, how is this happening? Like, why? Like, what are we? How does this happen? Like, how do you keep letting him fall?
Yeah.
Even the
crazy.
Niners could have. I mean, I know that Niners picked up Trey Lance, but even the Niners could have picked up Sewell. They had an offensive lineman retire last year.
Exactly. Yep.
So I was.
What do you think about Miami, bro? Being that they're picking up Waddle, is Tua their guy still, right? Like he's projected to be the starter
their
next
guy.
year.
I mean, I like it because they have that connection. You know what I mean?
Alabama.
So he has someone that he's familiar with as far as like just throwing passes to and everything, and I think that'll help Tua. I think it's not like Miami doesn't need a lot. It's just,
and that was one of their needs. They didn't have a receiver, so it's like
So I think they improve on a couple of areas, and I think they should be okay.
Yeah. I mean, 10 wins last year, excuse me. I know the division's getting tougher now, but wow, that's going to be an interesting division, man. I know we were talking about this
really
earlier,
is.
so we're going to do every week from here on out. We're going to kind of assess each division and talk about like, what the lay of the land looks like and what we predict is going to happen. But man, that AFC East division is going to be very, very interesting next year, bro.
It is.
I don't think the Bills are going anywhere. Miami's emerging. I think New England's on a bounce back year. The Jets or whatever, but like the other 3 teams, like
going struggle.
They've got a long way. Like oh man, but those other 3 teams, bro.
But so I think those other 3 teams it's going to be insane. But I do think that the Jets may, if they can get things figured out on the defensive side, I think that'll help with the things that what they want to do with Zach Wilson. But they got to get things figured out defensively, because they're going to struggle. And that's what I feel like. That's what the Jets have been known for through the years, is having like a tough defensive minded team. And it hasn't been that, but that division is going to be crazy.
It will.
The division with the Steelers, which I was shocked that they picked up Najee Harris. or Najee Harris.
I was too, man. I really was.
I didn't honestly think any running backs was going in the first round.
Yeah, I didn't really either, man. And that whole division was kind of weird. I really didn't expect. I mean, it makes sense. They were kind of lacking there, but Cleveland picked up that Northwestern cornerback. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like a bad move. It was just kind of like, whoa, I didn't see that one coming. That will also be a very interesting division. I agree with you. What about the Denver situation? Like you were saying, you were shocked that they picked up. Who did they pick up? The Alabama
Surtain
corner. Yeah,
they picked up Patrick Surtain. Yeah.
Yep. They just got Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know. That's going to be a different look next year. And you know that there have always been like a big focus on D. So I guess I can't be that surprised that they chose Surtain. But I don't know how good Bridgewater is. So I don't know. Like, I mean, he's got to be better than what they had last year. It'll just be interesting to see how they play.
Had a decent season last year in Carolina without Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, no real weapons.
Who we didn't even mention in our top 3 running backs last year.
Right, yeah.
Or that last episode. And also, not to mention, we completely forgot about Jair Alexander as a corner.
Oh, we definitely did. One of us he's a stud, bro. He's definitely top 3.
We're terrible.
Christian McCaffrey, though, the thing is he was injured. So it's like I don't really think like it's hard to really assess that, right? I don't know if we talked about it last time, though, but too, like, oh, man, Nick Chubb is coming, man. That dude is – I've never seen –
we talked about it.
Yeah, that dude is – I'm excited to see what the Browns do this year, being that they picked up it was a Clowney that they picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, wow. Like, they made some good moves. Like I said, they kind of solidified their secondary with Newsome out of Northwestern. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be a very good team.
Yeah, they're going to be solid. They're going to be really solid.
What do you think about Tebow, bro? What's going on with that?
Do we have to talk about this, bro?
I just don't understand. Like, why now? You did your baseball thing, and now you're trying to like.
Just be an analyst, bro. Just be a college analyst, bro, and a motivational speaker, and live your best life. Stop trying. You had your run as a football player. It didn't really work out. You got your playoff win when nobody expected. When you was over here throwing punches.
Yep.
Like he was literally just shot putting the fucking ball.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah, that was just like an 8-yard slant route that I don't know, like that it got taken to the house. Like that was crazy. I remember watching that game. Like, holy shit, what the hell?
So, I mean, and I get it because he, if I'm connecting with Urban again, but
I agree. I don't see anything coming of it. But can you imagine if they do sign him though? Like, I guess that's what they were saying is like experts were telling him or analysts were telling him. Before, when he was still in the league, like you would make that switch to tight end, like you had to build for it. I didn't know that, but that's what they were saying.
I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, I could see it working out because especially him having the experience as a quarterback, he can read the defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he can know, especially if he has an option route where he needs to be going.
That's fair. I just don't see it.
So I can see the benefit, but. Neither do I. Like, bruh, it's just be an analyst.
Yeah, it's just your athletic prime's gone. You've been out of the league so long. It's going to take a while to get back into that. I just don't see. I mean, they might do it, though. It's not like the Jags are doing that hot right now. Obviously, they're on the upswing with these draft picks, but I don't know who their tight end is.
Elijah Moore just got picked up by the Jets.
Okay. Breaking news right here. I mean, they needed it. They need everything, though. Like, I don't think the Jets could make a pick where I'd be like, "That's a bad pick." Like, it's like that they need absolutely everything.
They're giving who they drafted in the first round. They're giving him a receiver, right? They're giving him somebody to throw the ball to, which he needs. So
he definitely does.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Well, we might as well switch gears before we'll hit the NBA. But oh man, that Usman knockout of Masvidal was savage, bro. That was insane. I did not
Did you see? Did you get a chance to see it in slow mo?
Yeah.
Like he hit him in slow mo, and all that sweat and everything that just came off his face and his hair and everything. I was like, he caught him clean.
He did. And I don't think Masvidal was expecting it. I mean, literally within 10 seconds before that happened, he was laughing at him. And
he talked about it. Did you hear that? Did you hear him talk about it?
Mm-mm.
So he said he was so worried about the takedown. So he threw he threw like a fake, and his hands was down, and that's when he got caught.
Okay, gotcha.
He was like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
So at least I appreciate him just being completely honest about it. You know what I mean? But and the fact that, I mean, it was standing the whole time, which I was surprised.
The whole time. Yep.
You know what I mean? I'd have figured that Usman would have took it to the ground at some point, but he didn't. But the catch Masvidal like that.
Right, and you bring up an interesting point because Usman started off as such a good ground game grappler, and now just to see him kind of evolve and continue to get better and better as a striker, like I think that's 18 wins in a row now in mixed martial arts. He's really just coming into his own.
Yeah,
I don't know what's next in that division. I know Conor saying he'd go up, and he's talking.
It has to be Covington, even though I can't stand Covington.
Yeah.
It has to be Covington.
Covington's it because Conor's got his own things going on before he can get there. Yeah.
I don't think Conor wants that. I honestly don't think Conor wants that.
Why does he say that shit though, man? Like, I don't get if you're gonna talk like that, he bothers me, man. He's talented, but holy shit, bro. Conor
he does it because he knows that a fight between him and Usman would bring in some money.
Definitely. It would.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And for him, it's like, look, I'm not gonna come out of bed if I'm I'm not gonna get in the ring or octagon and fight somebody if I'm not gonna get this.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be top dollar fights, and that would be, that top notch, top dollar fight for him. But it has to be Covington, bro. Like they don't like each other.
Definitely for a good storyline.
Covington has a gripe about what happened with the reffing and some of the claims that Usman made with the below the belt hit or whatever, or the eye gouge or whatever happened. So it has to.
They got to run it back.
It has to be Covington. They got to. They got to. Even though Usman broke his jaw, I mean, the dude, he went to the 5th round, bro. So I mean, for you to go 2 more rounds with a broken jaw.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, he's a tough dude.
It's just a fighter's
heart. Like I said,
sure.
I'm not a fan of Covington. I think he annoys the shit out of me, but I'm not gonna take anything from him. The dude is a hell of a fighter.
Do you have dudes that's funny you just said that, because I was thinking in my head how I just said that Conor gets under my skin, but I have athletes that talk a lot of shit that I love. So is that the same for you? And I'm wondering what that is. Like, if it's just a personality thing, you're drawn to some people and you have a bias when they start talking shit, and then other people that you already have a disdain for start talking shit, and you're like, fuck them.
I think there's ways for you to talk shit and not be and not take it overboard or be disrespectful.
That's fair.
And I think Conor does that shit. Mm-hmm. Where he kind of especially with he did it with Magomedov, with Khabib, did it with him, and that's why he got his ass clapped. You can't. That was way that sentence. Just ignore what I just said, but he got slapped, bro.
That's the thing too. He retires, right, and then this is what pisses me off. I think more than all of it is it's about backing it up, bro. He talks shit when Khabib retired, and he's like, "Oh, pillow hands retired." It's okay, bro. He clapped you in the 3rd round, bro. He put you to the floor. He didn't knock you out, but you caught his right hard, and he went So don't tell me pillow.
And hands. You were done, gassed.
Yeah, right. So it's just that's the stuff that annoys me, man. Or Floyd, calling him boy, just clearly racial undertones, and it's and then he gets clapped. It's just okay. I know it's not a sport, but it's just
Yeah, it's so him. There's times where I think I think Covington is kind of in that same thing. We're just there's a way you to talk shit and take it forward.
Mm-hmm. So I agree, bro. Because it's interesting. I was saying,
one of my favorite trash talkers, the people all the time.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Tyson Fury, bro. I love Tyson Fury, and it's it's all he does is talk shit. So
but it's not a demeaning or disrespectful way. He just kind of bragging and boasting about himself or whatever, right? Or even Gary Payton.
Oh, dude, for sure. The Glove's one of my favorite basketball players ever.
You know what I mean? And even I'm a big Kevin Garnett fan, and I think he's really good at. But I think Kevin Garnett at times kind of teetered on kind of crossing the line. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially the stuff with Melo.
Yep.
But
for sure.
With GP,
yeah, no, I agree with you.
Probably one of the best trash talkers ever. You know what I mean? So
I agree. And his was more of just like a how do you put it? Like just a constant pressure. Like he just never stops. You just in your face
Yeah,
from, minute 1 to minute 48, just talking. But I don't think he ever, we don't know what was said, obviously, all the time. But I agree. It wasn't really, I don't think he probably ever said something completely egregious to the point where it's like, okay, man, like, what the fuck are you doing?
right,
And the same thing with
right.
Tyson Fury. Like it's more playful and he just makes fun of their figure and stuff like that and like how they look and stuff. But it's never like their wife
Talking
or
about
their
some
religion or
right,
their race or
right,
something like that.
right,
Like that's,
right.
yeah.
Which
For sure.
Connor has done a couple of times, and I'm like, that shit not cool.
No, definitely not. I mean, he gets views though, and I think that was his big
He
thing. And it just
does.
goes back to what we've talked about, like, in episodes past. I just think he's a very good fighter, a great fighter, but like just that aura about him and the trash talk, it kind of elevated him in his fans' eyes to like he's the GOAT or he's one of the greatest ever. And I can't put him there. Like he's definitely elite and one of the greatest of his time, but like I can't say like greatest of all time or like in the very top pinnacle of MMA fighters. I just think his
Yeah,
personality has accentuated that a lot and made people think he's better than he is.
true. And then what about what happened to was it Weidman?
Weidman. Why am I blanking right now?
The guy
Oh, his leg.
yeah, the same that he did the same thing to oh, why am I drawing a blank right
Oh,
now?
fuck,
Help me
man.
out. Who was it? He did the same thing to
Oh,
uh,
god damn,
oh my
bro.
god, why am I having such a hard time remembering the guy's name? He's like a UFC great.
Oh, Anderson Silva.
Yes. He
Yeah,
did the same thing to Silva, but it was just the
yeah.
other leg. But like, bruh,
Oh god, man, that was so gross, man. Stuff like that freaks me out, bro. Because I played basketball like 2 days later, and I was like, I don't even want to jump right now and just like Kevin wear this shit. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's just like I hate that when I see that. It's like, oh, because it's so freak. I don't think it's like you can prepare for it or he did something
no,
wrong. It just
it didn't.
happens.
It just got it got checked, and I guess it just got checked in the right spot. And
Oh, goddamn. I hate that stuff, bro. Even like
yeah,
ACL tears and Achilles stuff, that just freaks me out. When I'm playing ball, I'm just like, oh man, bro. Like, like
that's where I'll be like,
please. Like
when I
that's
play basketball, I'll be chilling, bro. I'm
yeah.
nothing but post work. I ain't got time to be trying to meet me in the
Oh,
post, and then we'll figure out something because I'm not
yeah.
nah.
That's a long recovery, bro. That type of shit. Oh man. Yeah. I hope he recovers soon,
But it's
bro.
just yeah, but it was just crazy how you know what I mean that happened to the same person that did it to that you know had it happen to during a match against somebody else. It's really
Yeah,
crazy,
that
man.
is he's probably like, what the hell, man? Like that's what
Yeah.
this just
Or even like the fight with Smith and was it Cruty or something like that? I think it is where
I don't
like
know.
he so he kicks Anthony Smith, and I don't know if Anthony Smith checked it or not, but like the dude's leg, his foot went numb. Like he
Oh,
had no
really?
feeling, so he immediately had to go and tackle Smith to try to catch him and everything. They end up calling the fight because he literally had no feeling in his foot.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Like it's just so brutal. Being an athlete is you don't think about that stuff, man, but holy crap, there can be some stuff done where you're just like, oh, those
Mm-mm.
freak incidents, man. I can't deal with it.
Man,
Oh shit.
crazy,
It
crazy,
was.
crazy,
But
crazy.
so yeah, I think Usman's just clearly elite, and I think first of all, just congrats to him. Like he's just catapulted himself to like one of the best pound for pound in the
Beast.
sport. Um, so Covington, I'd have to say is up
Shout
next.
out
I
to the Autumn
agree.
Africans.
Yeah, him and Nagani,
How
they're in the
about
same
just
corner,
Autumn
bro.
Africans hold
Yeah,
it's crazy, bro. And then Adesanya, man, y'all better watch out for these African dudes, man.
yeah,
They ain't
they're
no
going
joke.
nuts, bro. They are going nuts. I still like Stylebender's still elite, bro. I know. I completely put what happened to him on the fact that he just went up in weight so much, man. Like that's no joke to do that.
That's yeah, like yeah, Stipe ain't no joke.
No. No, Blokowitz. He looks just like Stipe.
Yeah,
Like,
Blokowicz. Sorry,
yeah,
yes,
yep,
sorry, thank you.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's a different. It's a different. I mean, it's a completely different thing when you go up so big.
exactly, man. It's just like a different type of fight. It'll so a lot of good potential in the UFC, man. With what's gonna happen with Usman next, whatever's gonna happen with Nagano. There's just a lot going on there,
We
man.
need John Jones to come on back.
We do, bro. He needs that payday though, man. Like I'm on his side with that. Like it's he's almost done. He's probably got less than 5 fights left. Like if he's gonna challenge Ngannou, and he's gonna go up in weight, which is I give Ngannou the edge, being how young he is and that he's naturally walking around at that size, like 250 plus.
Yeah.
Pay the man, bro. Like he's one of the goats. Like, come on, Dana.
Give him his money. Do. That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
What about basketball, bro? We got some stuff to talk about there. We're winding the season down.
Yeah, season's coming down, and we got to talk about. This is one thing that I really wanted to talk about with regards to this. Julius Randle needs to be in the MVP conversation.
Yes, bro. I was about to say he's my most improved player for sure. Like it's not even like
hands down.
That's so funny you said that, bro. I was just talking to my friends about that. Well, he's like 24, 6 and 7, 6 and 8, whatever it is. Like they're fourth or third in the East. Like where did that come from, man? Like he's always been a beast, but it's just like, I mean, as far as the Knicks, no one was expecting the Knicks to like do that. And Atlanta, bro. The East is so weird this year. Like Atlanta's.
Yeah. And the crazy thing with Atlanta was they really weren't doing that well until Nate McMillan became their head coach. Because they had to fire Floyd, I think it was, or no, Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
And so Trae Young's been out right now, but Randall right now I would say it has to go like Jokic, Embiid, and then Randall. Like,
I was gonna say you might have to put him right there, bro. He's
like
no one's talking about it, but he's great.
Dude's been balling. That I mean, and just the fact that you get a team just with a bunch of just like random pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Thibodeau deserves to be the coach of the year.
I agree.
If not, and that's not him, Steve Nash. And I know like he has this amazing talent, but you think about the shit that they've had to deal with this year.
Yeah.
How many lineup changes that they have to have, the personalities that they have to have, and they're first in the East.
And he's his first year.
Exactly.
Coach. Yeah.
You think about dealing with Kyrie being gone for 2 weeks, KD being injured, KD being out with protocol, picking up these different players, picking up James midseason, like.
Kyrie saying he's not his coach, and with the seances and the fasting.
You know what I mean? So you have to give it to Steve Nash for this to be his first year. He's handled it.
Oh, great.
With no one at any point in time has questioned Steve Nash's moves as a coach.
No, I totally agree with you.
You know what I mean? So I feel like he has to be. So I think my 3 coaches would be Thibodeau, Nash, and then Quinn Snyder.
Quinn Snyder's a great coach, man. Excuse me.
He is.
And it's funny you brought up Nate McMillan because he's a damn good coach too, man. Just like a very team-oriented coach. He was the Pacers coach, right? When they were doing pretty well. I thought that back then. I was like, they're not a horrible team. Like they're very solid, but like they were as good as they were because he had them playing such good team basketball. And like he's just such a good team-oriented coach. There's a couple coaches like that. I think Brad Stevens like that too. Like I almost think Brad Stevens prefers having a team that's under the radar, that doesn't have like a superstar talent, so that he can, focus on ball movement and, the team, having an overall collective unit success. I think when you throw someone like him stars, it's hard for him. And I wonder if like Jaylen Brown and Tatum's like emergence as stars in this league has hindered him in that way.
I don't think it's on Stevens. I actually think that it's on Danny Ainge.
Yeah, well,
you think about the last 2 years compared to when the team made it to the conference final, that team has gotten worse.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
They're not as deep.
No.
And they're so codependent on Tatum and Jaylen Brown that those guys I don't know if they're ready yet to take on that challenge. Not to say that they can't get there, because I absolutely think, I think Jaylen Brown has a little bit more of that in him than Tatum right now, especially on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
But you're so codependent on them being absolute superstars that you depleted your roster, that they're just not as deep, as they're not as good. You think like they had Al Horford and Jay Crowder, like they had pieces that were really good, and now everything is gone.
And I agree with you. And I think a big thing with Ainge too is like, bro, you have such a stockpile of assets every year for the last like 5, 6 years. And it's like, you're not going to pull the trigger and go for one of these
Not
big free
using
agents. Like,
that part.
what are you
That
doing,
part.
bro? Like,
That part.
okay, keep hoarding it's like an old person that's hoarding their money. And it's like, you're going to die. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't get what
They
that's
got
about, man.
use it. I'm
Yeah.
like for real. For real.
I don't know.
So
That's a shame, man, because I didn't even realize how much they were struggling until I was looking at the standings a couple days ago. I was like, damn, they're like teetering there on that playing game. Like it's not
not
good
good.
over in
They
Boston, man.
especially, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I think that would be it. But I just again have to appreciate, why is Kevin Durant so fucking cold?
He's the best player in the league, bro. I'm sorry. He's
You don't. Why are you apologizing about that
it's
though?
because for some reason, and this is the thing, like people don't understand. LeBron has been great for so long, bro. You could probably say by the third, fourth year in the league, he was the best, if not right next to Kobe. Maybe Kobe's a little better, right? And I think people just have trouble with players like that being like, okay, he's now still elite, but he's not there. Like, and I don't. I'm a huge LeBron fan, and I don't really like Kevin Durant, but I look at him and I'm like, LeBron is older now. He's wearing down. Like, Kevin Durant is the best player in this league, man. Since he's went to Golden State, his defense has ascended. Like, he is a great defender. He's learned how to use that length, cut off passing lanes. He's a good shot blocker, man. Like, oh man, you're right. He's just so cold. He's so fun to watch, bro. It's just effortless. It's art.
It's
Like,
too easy. Like why like it? I don't even have words right now. Like, the dude's game is like so easy, and I'm not sure if we're going to talk about this, but like compared to LeBron, KD actually has like moves that he can go to get his shot, right? And I'm not sure if you're going to, talk about the whole Dennis Rodman statement that he made about like LeBron not having to move. And in a sense, he's kind of right, because LeBron's thing is just getting in the pick and roll, getting the matchup he wants, and then he's blowing past that person, right? And I think, LeBron has that bit of like that mid-range turnaround, but KD actually has like ball handling moves. He has that double crossover that he hits people with. Like, that's his move. Or he has that one-legged fadeaway shot that he picked up from Dirk. Like, that's his thing. So I don't know if Bron really has that, but it is so effortless. It's not like you're surprised. Like, it's not the fact that KD is going to get a shot, right? It's just whether or not he misses it or not. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. And like, what's interesting? Like, I haven't thought about this before, but if you put them in the same situation and LeBron was younger, I mean, it wouldn't make sense now that he's older. Obviously, an injury like that would really deter anyone that, at LeBron's age. If they had, what did he have? Was it Achilles? What did KD go out with? Was it his Achilles in the finals?
Yeah, it was the Achilles, yeah.
So, like, I mean, we saw with Kobe, right? He was older, and that really just, like, that was the end. Like, he was never the same after that. If LeBron was the same age as KD and they both had that injury, I can't say LeBron would be back to this, like, even if LeBron was in his prime, because LeBron relies so heavily on his athleticism, bro. Like, KD, oh man, you said it before, and I've never really thought of it, like, until you brought it up. His best part of his game isn't even getting to the basket, regardless of how big and quick he is. Like, his best part of his game is just how smooth his stroke is, man. How tall he is, his apex of his jump shot. No one can touch it. His post moves. He's just such an elite shooter. It's crazy. No words.
The Nets literally have 3 players where you just can sit back and just be in awe of their game, right? Yep. Like, you talked about Kyrie, and he is just a savant, and like, you just watch Kyrie and the way that he just handles the rock and they play the game is crazy. Or even with James, and how just James' ability to draw a foul, his ball handling, like, in the way that he's able to get others involved. Like, James, the thing that I love about James Harden is he never looks like he's being rushed.
No, never. Definitely. He's playing at his own speed. It's a lot like Luka. Luka's not the fastest guy out there, but it's like he's just his timing is on another level. He just knows exactly where everyone's going to be and how he's going to get his shot. And James is the exact same way.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's that team is just sick. But they said so. Bron's been upgraded to probable. I don't know if he's going to play tonight or not, but I'm assuming he'll probably be back within the next couple of games.
They got what, 5-6 left? You think?
They have, I think they have like 9 games left. Let me double check real quick.
Okay. So this was a topic on
games.
Okay. This was a topic on a lot of the sports, shows, and I was thinking about it, and I wanted to get your take on it. If the Lakers, being that they're a lower seed, are going to have to go, they can't cruise through the playoffs at all on the western side of the bracket. They're going to have to go through some monsters, early, probably the Jazz, the Clippers, whoever else, the Suns, like early, and then have to face one of those monsters at the end of the Western Conference road, and then obviously probably meet the Nets in the finals if they make it there. So if they do that and LeBron plays like LeBron and then they beat the Nets, what is that? How does that affect LeBron's legacy? Like, will that make certain people that are, even if you're not going to call him the GOAT, that are so adamant that Jordan's the GOAT, would that soften them a little bit? Do you think that has like a huge swing on his legacy?
I think it can.
I mean, that would be crazy, bro.
It would be nuts because you got to think they're not gonna have home court advantage at all in the playoffs.
No, none.
Right. So that's one thing. And then trying to get all these pieces that haven't played together. Like you thought that the Nets haven't played together. The Lakers really haven't played together with any of these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So they still have to figure that out. And if they make it, just making it through the Western Conference itself would be insane.
It would. It
right?
really would.
And then to go from that to now, to not, because like literally the Lakers' first round matchup will be the Nuggets.
Exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. From the jump, it's going to be so hard.
Right. And Michael Porter Jr. has improved a ton. And I know they're going to be without Murray, which is a big piece, right? That's a really big piece for them. But they've been playing pretty solid. And I don't know how AD is going to be able to deal with Jokic. And then they may not even put AD on Jokic. They may put Drummond. But I don't know how they're gonna deal with that. You know what I mean? And then Michael Porter Jr. has gotten a lot better.
I agree, man. I can't even because like you said, the lack of experience and them coming off injuries, it's not even like if they all come back healthy and they're rolling at the end of the season, I still will have doubts about them, in every round there if they're facing the Nuggets and then they have to go up against whoever else and then end it against the Clippers, Jazz, or the
be
Suns.
Like the Jazz. They could potentially go against the Jazz and Utah. I mean, granted, I don't know how things are going to be with COVID and how many fans they let in, but Utah is a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
They have some crazy fans.
They do, bro. You're right. So it's going to be wild on the Western side. I think it's a runaway in the East, regardless if Harden comes back or not. Like, I just think KD's too good. Kyrie's too good. That team is very solid around them. I just think they're going to make it. But on that West side, being that the Lakers are having these two guys come back right before the season ends and they're going to be such a low seed, just from top to bottom, it's going to be so interesting to see how it unfolds.
Yeah. And so if Bron's able to pull that off and then they beat that Nets team, I think it would definitely start to put some adjustments in people's minds about Bron, especially this late in his career and being able to achieve that. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't
either.
But if it does, like literally, like LeBron said, like, what else do you need me to do, bro?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'd be crazy, man. It's well, we might as well stick with that topic. You sent me that list that Dr. J sent of his first and second all-time teams, bro. Oh man. I get a lot of it's probably nostalgic, and you're honoring the legends. A lot of
it was just players that he played against, right? Like it was players that he played against. I'm gonna show it so people can see this list.
Oh man, I can even put it up there, like on the edit when we put it out.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh man, you might as well just read it. Do you have it up?
I'm gonna pull it up, but it was, oh man, where did I
Oh, I got it. Okay, ready? So first team.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
You're good. So Oscar, Jerry West, Elgin, Bill Russell, and Wilt was his first team. Then he's got Magic, MJ, Larry, Karl Malone, and Kareem on his second team. Regardless of LeBron, we'll get into him in a second. Like, just look at that, man. Like, first of all, I'm putting Magic over Oscar. I'm putting Michael over Jerry West. I'm probably putting Larry Bird over Elgin Baylor. That whole lineup is just like, what are you talking about, bro?
Well, the thing that's so crazy is that like all these players he's played against.
No, exactly.
Right. So remember how we had that conversation where it was like players kind of think that like their era is that era or whatever,
Yep.
right? And so I think this is just kind of like prime example of this. Like the fact, what kills me is the fact that you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ranked lower than Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, what is your logic there, man? Like,
You know what I mean? And then Jerry West.
oh my god,
Like,
bro.
How do you have that? No one in the history of ever would put Michael Jordan behind Jerry West.
Oh,
no
man.
one would. Not even Jerry West would put himself above Michael Jordan.
It's delusional, bro. It's just the fact that you've got no players on here in modern time. Again, like, what do you refer? If you want to do like a legacy thing, okay, but like it just again shows like people's, like you were saying, there's the stubbornness in like their era and like every era after is just whatever. Because basically what he did there was took his era and then the second unit was the era right after him, and he's like, okay, I'll give these guys some props and just no one else. Like, it's like, I mean, like, oh my god, bro, there's just so much wrong with this. It's crazy,
Right?
Like
it just like I don't know, like.
But at what point is it legacy, and at what point is it how good they are, bro? Because who won that first team is better than Kevin Durant? Or like, no, like I'm just gonna be honest. It doesn't even have to do with legacy with me. Like, if we're just talking who's the best at basketball, bro, who's seeing Kevin Durant on that starting list? Like, oh man.
Well, let's. I mean, granted, but we gotta hear. Like, we just, Elgin Baylor just passed away. Like,
R.I.P.
Elgin Baylor was that dude.
Definitely.
Right. So I think we can't underestimate how good that man was. He was averaging like 30 again. Like, Elgin Baylor was that dude.
So
right?
was Oscar, man. He averaged
Oscar
the first triple double.
Dog.
Obviously, Bill and Wilt, they battled each other for a long time. And Jerry West too, bro. He's the logo. Like, he was, a really before his time player, the way he shot the basketball. But it's like, you just gotta at some point admit, I'm trying to like think of an analogy because it's such a new sport when you think of it, bro. I don't even think, is it 100 years old? I don't think it is. Like, when did they start? In like the 40s, the 50s, whenever it was.
You talking about as far as just the NBA?
Yeah, just the sport of basketball, man. It's so new.
Let's see.
How, like, you just got to be realistic about it and go, okay, as time goes on, people are going to get better. They're going to evolve. They're going to have more at their fingertips as far as training, medical help. There's so much, obviously, technology, research. And then just the ability to, like, a lot of these players that first started in the NBA, they weren't playing their whole lives. It was when the NBA first came around, bro. Like, you've got these players now that start picking up a basketball when they're born, and like that's all they ever do. Yeah. Players are just going to get better, man. Athletes get better. Athletes are more athletic now than they were back then. And I just think, like we were talking about, people just get so caught up in their era, and it's just like, nope, this is the best. And it's like, okay, I get like that's where your heart's at. Yeah. But like, if you're talking objectively and, taking a step back and looking at all of it, I just think, players of the 90s to today are just worlds better than players from the 50s.
Yeah. I mean, the game has evolved in just the way that players play. The sport's been around. It was invented in 1891.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think you just have to be objective. Like, players have evolved, and that game has evolved, and what players can do. Like, I don't think you really saw a player like Kevin Durant at his size and his skill set playing during it.
Right.
During the 70s and 80s.
Bro,
he's bigger.
The 90s. He's bigger than Bill Russell, and he's got guard skills, whereas Russell was a center. Like, it's not even the same thing, man.
Yeah, and then I mean, you think about the level, you think about the competition, right? Like how many teams you have now compared to like
It was
all these
12.
teams weren't even around.
Yeah.
Like when Russell and them were playing, it wasn't even that. So the reason, we talk about like Bill Russell having like those 13 championships and stuff like that, and 11 of them as a player, if I'm not mistaken. But like it was only like 10 teams in the league. So it wasn't like a full, robust like level of competition because you had so many leagues going on. You had the ABA, you had the CBA, like you had all these different leagues. So it wasn't like you always had the best of the best playing.
Exactly, man. And then like even someone like Wilt, who like I respect obviously, and his records look crazy, but it's like, bro, like offensive basket interference wasn't a thing when he played, bro. You know how many of his points were just him jumping up there while the ball was rattling around the rim and he just dunked it because no one like, I mean, it's
yeah, he was just a monster. But I mean, you think about it though, like FIFA plays by those rules.
That's crazy. Like if you just get athletes at some point, it's like he changed the game though. Like Wilt was one of those dudes where the game just changed because of who he was, man. And like Steph's one of those people too, bro. I wanted to bring this up because he was on such a tear and he just broke the April record for most threes and it's nuts.
93.
Is Steph a top 15 player?
Top 15?
Yeah.
Oof. Huh.
Because I don't have a problem with people saying he's top 10, to be honest with you, but like I've just heard people bring it up and like some people think it's blasphemous to have him in the top 15. And I'm like, he's already got 3.
I don't know if I could put Steph in top 10. I could maybe get Steph top 20. It's tough.
Yeah, because you have to go down the list, right? At that point to like see
you got Kareem, Magic Bird, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Bron.
I mean,
Bird, like
yeah,
that was just like 10 there.
Yeah, exactly.
Are any of those players? Do you think any of those players are? Would you put Curry over any of those players?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So then you go into like this next set of 15, like you thinking about like Charles Barkley.
Okay, but like, is he better than Dirk?
I would put Steph over Dirk.
Me too. You know,
I'll put him over Dirk. I'll put him, even though KG's my dude, I put him over KG.
I would too. I don't know. It's really
you put him
tough,
over like you started getting into these things like, do you put him over Elgin Baylor? Do you put him over Oscar Robinson?
See, I do, but again, I have a different mindset than some people where it's like legacy aside, I just think, you know, today's era, like it's just a different type of thing. And, you know, you can say back then it was more physical. I just think if you drop Steph Curry in an era back then, he would just, people's eyes, yeah, exactly. Their eyes would just pop out of their heads. They'd be like, what this dude's pulling up from like, how do we guard that? You know, like it's,
what just happened?
Like they'd body him up. Well, he wouldn't even get touched because he could just step past half court and just drain a three and walls back. So it's like, I mean, it's very hard. But like, I just look at it legacy wise. He's got 3. Like we talked about, Wilt. We can say this about, you know, it's crazy that you can't say this about some of the greatest ever, some of like the best ever, like Kobe, Bron, Jordan. They didn't change the game, bro. There's like Wilt and a couple other, and Steph's one of those dudes, man. Like he literally made the game. Like he changed how it's played. Like it's crazy.
Jordan did change the game.
Okay, explain.
Cause that you think about how physical the game was. Especially when Jordan is like when the Bad Boys Pistons.
That's very fair.
You're right. He completely adjusted that, right? Like you couldn't do the things that they were doing.
That's very fair. And I complain about Jordan for that. So you're right. I can't. He did change the game.
He did that. Yeah. And then he just made the game. I mean, I don't know if it was really on him, but just made it completely a universal game, especially with that Olympic team.
Definitely.
The dream team.
You're right. But it's regardless, the point is like it's very few players can you look at and be like, you literally like before you were in the league till right. You know, when you were in the prime or when you left, it was just a different league because of you and how you played. And Steph's one of those dudes, man.
Steph. So who would you say are some of those players? So you said Steph, we talked about MJ. Who else would you say are some of those players that like
Wilt
had an impact?
Wilt
for sure.
Like again, it's just like when there's rules that have to be changed for you, like it's crazy. Shaq's almost there too in like a Wilt sense.
I was about to say we have to
like come on, bro. No one could do anything with Shaq, man. I don't know if like his game would be allowed today. They'd probably just call him charging and, offensive fouls every play. But it's holy shit. Like, he's just a different. Again, it's just one of those players you look at him. It's like he plays the game differently than I've seen anyone else play basketball.
Yeah. What about Allen Iverson?
Yeah, definitely. And he kind of paved the way for people like Kyrie, who I appreciate so much as a talent, like just that pound for pound. And well, AI too, from another significance, he brought hip hop into basketball, right? Like he started the do-rags, the baggy jeans, the baggy white t-shirt. He came in like, they made him wear sleeves because of his tattoos. It's like he had a whole different spin on it. Like he brought like a whole, he like merged cultures, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got to give it to him.
I don't know if I mean, I'm sure there's more, but I can't really think off the top of my head. It's very few, bro. Just a handful.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know.
You are right.
Well, before we head out, what do you think, like, just quickly on boxing, there's two fights that are, so for one, they're saying now they don't know if Joshua Fury is going to happen, and now Fury might be turning his attention back to Wilder because they still have to do their trial or whatever. I guess Wilder took him to court because they were contractually obligated to fight 3 times. And then Fury was like, no, I want to unify, so they still got to do their mediation or whatever. And now they're saying because they don't know what's going on with Joshua, like, is he going to just consider fighting Wilder again? Like, so I don't know. It's very up in the air there.
I really want that fight to happen. Not the Fury Joshua fight.
Me too.
I really need that fight to happen. Though I wouldn't be mad to see Wilder Fury 3, but I want to see Fury, or not Fury, but Wilder in the ring before I see him up against Wilder or up against Fury again.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, because I think I sent you a clip of Wilder and some of his knockouts and everything, and that right hand is vicious, bro.
It's so crazy, bro. It's such a work of art.
It just comes out of nowhere and will just catch you. But I want to see that. I want to see that Joshua Fury fight because I think just from a style standpoint and how good of a boxer Joshua is, I think it'll be a better matchup with for just from a boxing standpoint. I don't know from like a viewership standpoint if it'll get a lot of buzz like that Wilder Fury would, because of, like you said, just the unpredictability that Wilder brings with that right hand.
Yep. Which is to his detriment in negotiations too, because you got to think, if I'm Fury, bro, Wilder's dangerous, bro. Like, it doesn't matter how, like you figured it out, whatever, just one punch and he's turning your lights out. He's the belt holder again, and then you're trying to climb your way back up the ladder. So, like, if I'm, a champ right now trying to unify, he's the last person that I'm trying to beat to make a point, Like, it's like, I've already knocked him out. Like, I don't want that again. So,
and then you sent me the thing about Pacquiao.
Oh, yeah, with Spence.
And I don't mind it. I really don't. But like, you had already, wasn't it already kind of thought that it was going to fight Bud Crawford? That's
the thing, is like Pacquiao's kind of just jumping around right now, just saying like maybe this, maybe that. I think he wants a huge payday out of it too. Like, I just don't think Pacquiao, I mean, he's older, man. Like, it's like I'm not expecting much out of him. I don't know what he looks like right now. He looked good against Keith Thurman. He was old then. He's 2-3 years older now. I'm just looking for Spence Crawford. Let's stop with the middleman and just like let those two get it on, because that would be huge.
I was literally about to say the same thing. Bro.
Because such an up in the air fight, bro. Like, if you gave me a certain amount of money and just said make your bet, it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I love Crawford.
It's tough,
but like, they're so good, and they're both southpaws. Like, when do you see that, man? 2 fighters that good, they're undefeated, they're both southpaws, so it's basically like there's no advantage southpaw wise, like, that'd be crazy, man. I'd have no idea where I'd put my money, but I'm gonna say Crawford because I like Crawford. But
right, I'm leaning the same way. I think he's such a technician. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like Pacquiao is in the same sense of like we were talking about earlier with Conor, where it's like, who gonna give me the most money?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna get in this ring with you unless I'm gonna get top dollar. Who? And I'm assuming it seems like he can get more money with Errol Spence.
I guess so, because they broke
So-
down with Crawford. Now he's talking about Spence. So I don't know. It's again, it just comes down to it's like promoters are just so annoying with this shit. Like, they deprive us of fights that we need to see, and they keep fighters inactive when we want to see them fight. We're seeing it right now with Fury Joshua, man. Like Joshua's promoter, he's just Eddie Hearn. I just, I don't know the dude personally, but it just like from what the business I've seen, it just seems like he's such a snake, bro. It's just like, just sign the paper, man. We want to see the fight. Like we don't care.
Right.
Like I don't care where it is. Like just oh man, like.
But so I have a question, and it's not with Fury or Joshua or anything, but like I need to see Ryan Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see. I don't know what's going on with Tank, but like we got to figure something out with him. We got to figure something out with is it Deontay? No, what's his name?
See a lighter weight?
Yeah, lightweight guy.
Talking about the dude that beat Loma?
No, I'm not talking about Lopez. Is he in the same weight class as Tank? Stevenson.
Oh, Shakur Stevenson? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like where are these guys at?
That's the thing, man. And it gets to a point in boxing because it's such a strategic thing with promotion and stuff like that. And I bitch about it with Canelo all the time. Like, it's like you get to a certain level and it's like, okay, you're done with the journeyman fighters that you're just going to destroy, bro. Or even the guys that are ranked but like are clearly not contenders. It's like we now need to see you. And again, I always bring it back to Floyd. I know he gets shit for, he picked and choose and fighters got older whenever. He fought like 23 titleists in a row, bro. It's like you need to get to that level of like you're only fighting title fights. Like that's it. You're only fighting people that have won a title or are titleists. Like if you're that elite, we don't need to see you against these scrubs anymore, man. Like I don't know.
That's what I'm waiting. Like that's like you got these younger guys and it don't seem like they're fighting as much.
No.
And like I had to see more activity.
It is what it is, bro. And these dudes that were so good back in the day, Sugar Ray Robinson, this is going way back, like Sugar Ray Robinson, Julio Cesar Chavez, they're fighting like 12 times a year, bro. They had like 200 fights on their record by the time they retired. Like it's like Mike Tyson brings that up all the time, bro. Like he says, like, I think Floyd's great, but I don't want to hear about 50-0 when Chavez went 79-0 before he lost his first fight, or when Sugar Ray Robinson, whatever, he fought, he was 40, whatever, lost one fight to Jake LaMotta, then he won 80 in a row. It's like, like give us some volume, man. Like I get protecting yourself, but at some point it's also like, yeah, I want to see you active. I want to see you in there getting dirty, like fighting multiple times a year, not just on Cinco de Mayo and like one other time. Like we need to see.
Right.
That's all it is, bro.
Like even if we can get like 3 fights a year out of these guys, like I think that would help get the sport right back to where it is and stuff like that. Because it's like you just have these dead spots, right? Like when's the last time we seen a major fight? It was that Loma Lopez fight.
Exactly, in the fall.
Probably was like the last bigger fight that we saw, right? Where people actually tuned in and was watching it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And when was that? October?
Yeah, October, November. And that's what's annoying too, is like because these bigger name guys, they're still active, like Canelo and I think Bud fought in December, but it's like it takes 2 names to really make people tune in, man.
Yeah.
Like Lopez and Loma were both, stars. I don't care that Canelo just knocked out or beat whatever Avni Yildirim, whatever that nobody's name was.
Yeah.
Even Bud Crawford, that last dude he fought, he was a good fighter, but like again, you need like at this point, it needs to be superstars versus superstars to really,
we need names.